Southern African sky. Sometimes I feel that you already know me.
Hi there, nice to have you with us. It is Mansfield today, and being a Thursday, we're joined by our friends at Flight Centre Travel Group. The MD of Flight Centre Travel Group is Andrew Stark, and he's our first guest. Congratulations on also being the first sponsors on a Mansfield Today edition. Nice to have you guys on board with us, Andrew.
Thank you, Jeremy.
At a very difficult time, I would imagine, for you guys and everyone in the travel industry.
Absolutely. It's probably been one of the most devastating years for us in the industry, for all our colleagues and our friends in the travel industry. It's been traumatic, but we can only go up from here, to be honest. So, the way things are looking right now is South Africans are loving local travel, and South Africans are loving places close to home like Zanzibar and Maldives, which seems to be very popular with South Africans right now. So we're doing our best to sell as much travel in a very contracted market. We've only got about 25% product to sell versus the old days, which I refer to as pre-COVID days, the old days. So 25% content, and we're doing our best. And like I say, South Africans are pretty resilient. We certainly need a very steady vaccination program in play very quickly in order to get international travel open. But for now, it's pretty much local, Jeremy.
Speaking of the local aspect to it, it's not really a bad thing from that point of view, because we are starting to discover our own country. Instead of going off to a family holiday in Mauritius, for example, people are starting to go to local lodges and local seaside resorts and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. I mean, we've done a lot of marketing around homegrown holidays. So we've gone back to the basics. I don't know about you, but you remember traveling by road in a vehicle and stopping at the White Rabbit? Remember the Caltexes and that type of thing in the old days? So we're bringing that back, and it's amazing how many South Africans have preferred actually getting into their own cars, staying in their safe bubbles, and seeing the beauty of South Africa. A couple of weeks back, I was down we went down to Nature's Valley, and we experienced the Karoo. And I can't tell you when last I drove through the Karoo, because generally being a travel company, we fly everywhere. And it was fantastic. We've got a beautiful, untouched domestic market, and I think there's lots of local tourism that can benefit from what South Africans are doing right now, is getting into cars and exploring their own homegrown backyard, basically.
Andrew, are there still lots of specials going on in the domestic market? Because I know when it first opened up, when we were allowed to travel across provincial borders, there were quite a few specials that were on offer there. Is that still the case, or have the providers now started jacking up their prices to the normal sort of levels?
Look, we're doing our best to make sure that our suppliers give South Africans the very best rates all the time. And there are exceptional deals out there. I've certainly, taken advantage of most of them in one of the best lodges that South Africa can offer. And there are some fantastic deals still out there. But beware, United Airlines is flying into South Africa from June. The flight is full. A lot of Americans coming back in. The flight's empty going out, which means you'll get very good specials. But it means the minute inbound tourism starts to come back in some way, those lodge specials, those 5-star hotel specials that we were accustomed to seeing over the last 12 months will probably be a thing of the past. So like I keep saying, is that there's probably a never better time to travel. Pricing's at an all-time low for all South Africans. And take advantage of that as a matter of now, because very soon, when inbound, and we think America is going to lead the way in that regard. You can see that 40% of the population vaccinated, and they're certainly saying once you're vaccinated, masks are gone and you can jump onto aeroplanes. So that's a good thing. And it's a good thing for South Africa, because I think South Africa is still a sought after destination for the inbound market. A competitive economy, and the rand goes very, very far when you've got USD.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just move away from the local travel now. When are you looking at, or have you got any guidelines to as an industry as to where you planning on looking at international travel, and also how are you approaching this from a government point of view? Are you engaging as a travel group or as an industry with government on this?
Absolutely. We have to engage with government. So we do that through the various tourism bodies and regulators that we have within our industry. And they're doing a fantastic job. The reality is, I think we need to, get private and government working probably a lot stronger together. We believe, we understand, we could in South Africa at full capacity have 350,000 people vaccinated on a daily basis, and we do that over 100 days. You do the simple maths, that's 35 million people vaccinated, and what that means is international travel will open. Why? We get off red list countries ASAP, and that seems to be holding us back. We've only got less than 1% of our population vaccinated, and it seems like the algorithms that countries are using is there must be a percentage of your population that's been vaccinated. What we've seen from a lot of our international carriers is saying, well, you can get onto an aeroplane, you can come into our country if you've been vaccinated. So it seems like in those days, you remember, Jeremy, with the yellow fever certificate when you used to travel across Africa, it might be a very similar thing. I suppose what we haven't unpacked is there a digital passport? How do you verify that you've been vaccinated and by which vaccine? Because that also seems to be a sticky point now as well. Western powers are saying you can only come into our country if you've got these 3 or 4, been vaccinated by these 3 or 4 providers. What happens if you travel to the east? So I think there's a lot more complexity that lies ahead, but certainly what we're seeing from our American counterparts is the willingness to travel once people have been vaccinated. And it's okay to travel, it's safe to travel. And even from a domestic perspective, I've heard the FlySafair CEO recently say he had 3 million passengers over the last year, and he's had not one case from his own airline cabin crew of COVID during that 12-month period, which shows you travel is safe. There's probably never been a better time to travel in a very safe environment. So again, the vaccination program I think is key for us. The quicker we off the international red list countries, and then we get airlines coming back in. Also bear in mind, Jeremy, the only airline we've got flying in really now of substance is Qatar, and Lufthansa. But other than that, Emirates is not here, British Airways is not here, Virgin's not here. So the minute those airlines start to have an appetite to come back, international airlift increases, that's good news for South Africans and for international outbound travel.
Andrew Stark is the MD of the Flight Centre Travel Group. They're also the sponsors of the travel show right here on Mansfield Today. If you enjoy it, then please like it on Facebook and share it as well at mansfieldtoday.com. You can find more podcasts and vodcasts on YouTube by simply searching Mansfield 2, that's the number 2, day, no spaces in between, on YouTube, and check out the other shows that we have already put out over the last week. This is our first week on air, and we look forward to you being part of our family here at Mansfield Today. Andrew, you've obviously had to change certain aspects of your business model, and I say that because I think, I don't know when you had your last big show, but I remember going along to the Dome in Johannesburg, and I mean, it was massive. I mean, there were queues of people waiting to book specials. I think you had about 4 different sections where you just said travel consultants. You obviously can't do that now. How have you adapted your business model to cope with what's been happening?
I remember seeing you there. It was fantastic. We used to get, in those old days, 20,000 people through the door, pushing the flesh with South Africans, which was fantastic. We missed those days. Look, that will come back. I'm a firm believer that will come back. We've got to do things differently, and we have. We've thrown the rule book out the window. We've created more flexibility for customers. Booking terms are really important for customers as well. But what we've tried to do is also get across on our website. Flightcentre.co.za is a fantastic portal where you can book your own flights if you need to. You can deal with the dedicated travel experts, or you can do your own research. And what we've seen over the last 12 months, funny enough, is obviously there was a strong trajectory of online bookings pre-COVID on the old days. It's come back. People don't want to necessarily book by themselves. They want to deal with the expert because of the complexity that lies out there. So complexity will stay in travel probably for the next 3 to 5 years. It will probably take us 5 to 7 years to rebuild this travel and aviation hospitality industry. It's a long road to recovery, but I have visions that we'll have that travel expo one day very soon. We probably got to find other ways to get specials across to consumers. And what consumers loved, and I know you loved about the Travel Expo as well, is you could talk to suppliers. And we've got to find that as well. Our suppliers are in, as much as we're in a world of pain, our suppliers in a world of pain. And I feel for some of our suppliers that are hamstrung, that don't have anything else to sell. We've had to pivot our business from predominantly international to 90% domestic. 90% of our customers today book and pay and travel in the same month. That's unprecedented. So everything's last minute in the world we live with. And what I also maintain is that a week in the COVID world's equivalent to a year in the old days. It moves so quickly. So, planning your journey, getting things right, it's spontaneous these days, opposed to the days of the Travel Expo. We had people booking 18 months out for cruise packages. And those things will come back, but they're not going to come back anytime soon.
I may be a normal travel consumer, I may be very different, but I love the planning stages of a holiday where you sit down and you research it and you go, okay, well, if you go there, then why don't we go there as well? And you know what I mean? I love that planning stage because it builds the anticipation before you even get to travel.
Absolutely, and we love that. We love building that with our customers. And I got to be, probably got to do a shout out here to our 500 sales consultants that are out there, still pushing the flesh with South Africans. We've maintained still a 50 shop network, and our people have been amazing through this process, and they still are helping people navigate their way through these trying times. And I have no doubt that planning phase is going to come back. I'd probably suggest, Jeremy, you start planning, because if we get everything right and borders start opening up October, November of 2021, it means you could probably be skiing somewhere in Europe the early Jan, who knows. And that's certainly what we're going to keep pushing for. But one thing we do know in this world is it's going to be a slow process of getting out there. And when we do send you overseas, we're going to send you overseas in a very safe environment and manner. And knowing that, if anything goes wrong, you've got someone to fall back on. And that's always been our mantra here as Flight Centre Travel Group.
Andrew Stark, MD of Flight Centre Travel Group, thank you very much for joining us on Mansfield today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your insight into that. As I said earlier, if you did enjoy it, then like it on Facebook, mansfieldtoday.com, and you can search for other shows on Mansfield Today on YouTube, all one word with the number 2 in the middle. Andrew, on behalf of all of us here, thank you to Flight Centre for partnering with us on the travel show. Tomorrow, hold on to your hats, because sitting in that chair there is going to be Samantha Cowan. Anything could happen. We'll catch you tomorrow. Cheers now.
There's so much you can show